left off yesterday. It's the following day, and got the oil pump all done, put back together. I got some new screws since the other ones that I took out stripped, but she's ready to go back in there. We're gonna see how it does. Hopefully it works out, because if not, you could say bye-bye motor. So the plan for today is to get the whole left side or driver's side of the motor put back together. You can see down there I got it pretty much apart, you know, for the oil pump and whatnot and the timing belt. So plan today is put the oil pump back on, get the oil pan back on, buttoned up nice and tight, timing belt, set the timing, and make sure the cams are degreed. Spin the motor over. I got a couple parts coming that I ordered. I went ahead and ordered the coolant reservoir and the slave cylinder, the K-tune slave cylinder, so I can get this downpipe in there and bolt it up how it's supposed to be. So for now, let's just get this oil pump back in there and button up like it's supposed to be and go from there. Also, after I get all this put back together, I'm gonna put the wheels on and lower the car back down, and then that way I can jack the back up. Hopefully get a jack up under there, and we'll go ahead and put the new pads and rotors on back here and get all this cleaned up. Got the oil pan off. It was just held on with a couple bolts just to try to keep the bottom end, you know, from being exposed to the elements too much. But now I'm just gonna clean all this old gasket material off, or sealant, and put some new stuff on there, and she'll be good to go. And I'll get the oil pump on, pick up tube, all that good stuff. All right, we got the timing belt done, the timing set. Got the ATI damper and crank pulley on there and torque down. Got oil in it. I'm going to get new plugs and then put coolant in it and get the rest of the coolant hoses that I need from the store. I should be good with about 3 foot to run this to the overflow, this to the throttle body to idle air control valve, and that's about it. I also took the pulley off the alternator, because when you're running the race damper, the ATI race damper, the alternator will undercharge the battery. So quick fix is like a $60 part. So that should be coming soon. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheels back on, get it lowered down, and probably start on the back brakes. This is really all I have left to do. Oil pump was pretty easy to put back together. Oil pan is kind of a pain in the butt to put back on there. It's the Moroso. I believe it's the 4-quart pan. I got the tripod on the camera, so you can't really see it that well, but it's there. And it's a pain to get the back bolts in there behind the axle. So not much more left and we're gonna have oil pressure. I'm dreading the wiring. The wiring's the one big thing that I gotta do. Gotta go through all that, and I'm sure I'm gonna have a good time with all that. I need to get the oil pressure gauge wired up and mounted. I got that I got this off eBay a while ago. It's like a custom made gauge pod. I didn't want gauges all up in here where you can see them, like if you're riding next to me or whatever. So that's gonna look good. Trying to keep it with the sleeper theme. But all this, man, is what I'm procrastinating on. I hate messing with wiring, but I have a love-hate relationship with wiring. I hate it until once I figure out where everything goes and whatnot, then I like going through and cleaning stuff up, because yeah, all these butt connectors and stuff like that ain't gonna fly. Some of it's done right with heat shrink and whatnot, but we're gonna clean all that up and organize it and get that thing mounted up nice and sturdy like it should be. And then we'll be good to go. But for now, that's it. I'm gonna get these wheels put back on, like I said, and get this thing lowered back down. For now, anyways, I'm gonna have to put it back up to do the downpipe anyway. Once I can get the downpipe pushed that way past the K-tuned slave cylinder that I got coming. That's about it. That's about all I can do right now. So let's just get started on one thing at a time. Welcome back, man, to another beautiful day on this channel. Thanks for clicking. Today is going to be more of an update video, but first we need to feed and take care of the animals. I'm not going to show too much of the property here yet because I still need to do like I'm going to do a tour video on the shop and whatnot, if you can see that behind me. Just a little sneak peek. Where are the chickens at? Actually, we're missing one. We had 8 chickens, but one of them got snatched up the other night. Not sure what happened. Oh, the rest of them are over there. There we go. Yep, one of them's missing. We looked all over the property, or most of it, I should say. About 24 acres here, so I can't physically check all of that, but I looked at most of it. We've come to the conclusion that it's probably some animal or predator must have snatched one of them up. Cracked corn, this is some good stuff, man. They love it. Sorry if I sound stuffed up or congested. I'm getting over a sinus infection at the moment. I'm almost over it, so if you hear me sniffling and whatnot, that's why. I'm gonna do a tour maybe of the house, I'm not sure. When they've got painted, new gutters, roof. I may or may not, show it before or after that, but it looks pretty good now. So next animals, onto the dogs. One of these dogs actually got out, Athena. So they're both German Shepherds. They're brother and sister. Here you go. Here, boy. Here. Good boy. Good boy. Athena is the mischievous one. She's the one that always gets out. So she ended up getting out. She would always get out over here at the pool area where the fence is a little higher than the concrete. Yeah, it didn't take her any time at all to figure out how to get out of there, and she actually attacked one of the chickens. So we originally thought that she ended up killing one, or she hurt one, seriously wounded one, and it just went off and died somewhere. But now maybe she wounded it and then something else came and snatched it up, but the one she actually wounded is in there. You can see feathers missing and ruffled, and she's fine. So, but what I did is went ahead and got the electric fence working down at the bottom, and I had to put 2 more. It only had 1 grounding rod in there originally. I had to put these 2 other ones in there. Well, those are like 8 feet long. They go up. When I had them out here, they were like up there, and I had to hammer those into the ground yesterday. So now my arms don't work. Maybe we should give you a cold start. It's been a while. It's about 40 something degrees. Let's see. Woo! Sounds good. I actually drove it for the first time yesterday. First time in like a month. My uncle and dad stopped by yesterday, so I started it up for them and went out and drove it around. Got the juices flowing in there. But on to the main event. Blue Note. So when we left off last video, I was putting the oil pump back on, which I did. Let me get some light in here. Got the oil pump on, got the crank pulley back on, or the ATI damper back on. Damn spider web in the way. And that thing, man, was a pain because I had to take it off and then put it back on. Or I had to pull the old crank pulley off to get the oil pump off. That was a pain. I actually almost ended up stripping the crank, and that would have been devastating. But if you notice in the last video, I showed that the oil pump was on and the crank pulley was on, but the Speed Factory timing pointer was not on there. And in order to put this on there, you actually have to take the pulley off to get it on there, because there's a screw. This screw right here, a bolt, goes in there. There's no way to get it in there with the crank, with the damper on there. So I actually had to take the damper back off, and yeah, that was fun. So that's done. Got the overflow in, hooked up. Nothing in it yet, really. There is coolant in the system. I got the K-tuned. Oh, maybe I do need some light. Got the K-tuned clutch slave cylinder in there, and if you can see, it's flat on this edge right here, which allows the downpipe to fully go back where it needs to be bolted up, which I got that done also. That's all bolted up in there. It's cool. It's kind of cool because the exhaust was originally made, custom made when the car was originally built. Back in 2011, 2012, but I never put it on there. We kept it open downpipe. So this is actually the first time the exhaust is actually going to be fully on there. I got this coil plate, which I might go with a different one. I might go with the KLM one. Shout out to KLM. If you know Hondas and racing, you know KLM, and they're from my neck of the woods, Richmond. And they make a pretty cool one. It's like raw aluminum and black, which looks a little better. This doesn't look bad, but it's like a different blue than everything else. Kind of throws it off. But I also ordered some coils. Those are over here. Try not to show you guys too much of the shop and save it for a video. So I ordered some, which I thought were the coils that I needed for this car. It turns out that they're not, and I'll show you why. I should have known by how much they were. Factory K-series coils are about 280 bucks. So I found these VMS racing coils. I didn't like the red, but I was like, man, for that price, if they work, I'm gonna go with them. But turns out that plug is different than the plug that I need for them. So, and I also procrastinated on returning these, so now I have $90 racing coils for some Honda that isn't this one. I contemplated changing the plugs, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stick with what I know works and what you're supposed to use with a setup like this, or a Honda coil on plug setup. And it's supposed to be this kind of plug right here. Clip on the side, goes in there. So I actually got the car running before we moved. I fired it up, even on the old Q16. That Q16's been in there at least 8 years, and yeah, it fired right up. It was misfiring though. It was only running on 3 cylinders, maybe even less, but I'm pretty sure 3. And what I found out was number 4 coil was overheating, or it was it's getting voltage all the time for some reason, and I haven't figured out why yet. So it actually ended up melting this coil. This coil was like way up here because of how hot it was, how hot it got. It just melted out of the thing. That could have been bad. So in the interior, I took all the carpet out because I'm starting over from scratch basically. There was gray carpet in here originally, and then the previous owner, before I bought it the first time, had black carpet, and all he did was just put it in here and glue it on top of the gray. So I don't know, it looked bad. And yeah, so I went ahead and pulled it out. What I'm gonna do is probably just paint everything in here black, undercoating or bed liner probably. Shout out to Trout. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, because back here is, you know, the paint matched blue, like the exterior. So I don't know if I want to go ahead and get it all painted that color, or just go ahead and do it black and have some texture to it so it's not slippery. I'm not going to get rid of the sound deadener. Everybody gets rid of the sound deadening, but I'm not going to do that. It's going to be a street car. It's going to be not a daily driver, but daily driver capable. And I don't want all that rattling tin can sound in here. And I'm really contemplating just going ahead and putting new carpet back in here, because I don't like the look of all this exposed and whatnot. It'll look a little better when it's painted black and there's a cage in here, but so this is definitely the issue. I'm not sure if this thing works or not. I can't connect to this because it requires a serial cable, and these are notorious for not working with a serial cable that is a converter, a serial to a USB. So I could not get this thing, my laptop, to connect to this. So I don't know if it works or not. When I first started messing with it, you would turn the key and the fuel pump would cut on. Now it's not. Like I said, that one coil is constantly getting voltage. Don't know why. I know what a lot of these cut wires are for. Like, I got them labeled. This is ground, this is switch. I think these are switches. This stuff is for like wideband and stuff like that. And then one of these is for boost solenoid. But I did notice there's a short in here somewhere, and I could tell because every time I would move this or pick this up and down to try to connect it to my laptop, the fuel pump would cut on and off. So there's definitely a short in here somewhere. I don't know where. I couldn't find it. And I can't tell if I fixed the issue or not. I did clean up some of this wiring, did some soldering in here and whatnot. There's a ground wire in here that goes to some of the coils and the cam sensor. So I think this thing is done. I think it's fried through because of the short or whatever else I did troubleshooting. I may have fried this, and either way I got to update this into either an Infinity 5, the current one, or maybe an EMS 2. I even thought about just going with a Haltech. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Maybe even Hondata, because if I go with a Hondata ECU, then I can put like a tablet or something up there, which I have an old tablet, and I can monitor everything instead of buying like a AEM CD dash display, which a lot of people use, and mount in there, kind of like an F1 car, to monitor all their the car's vitals and whatnot. I could just go with a tablet and use the Hondata app. But what I don't know is, because I'm running the T1 cam trigger, I don't know if I can run this with Hondata. I know I can do coil unplug with Hondata, and there's a coil unplug kit you can run to the Hondata, but I just don't know. I'm gonna have to call somebody, DP Race Parts or somebody. That's probably who I'm gonna get the kit from. DP Race Parts has a kit, AEM or a Hondata S300 with the boost, solenoid, coils, and it even comes with a T1 trigger kit, which I don't need. So I'm gonna try to talk to DP Race Parts about putting together a kit like that, but without the T1 cam trigger, because I already have that, obviously. So that's all really I'm waiting on. That's why I started pulling the interior out and cleaning up some wiring. Well, there was a whole bunch of wiring mess in there. I pulled the interior out of here on the side so I can clean up some wiring in here. I'm gonna relocate the battery. This is obviously in the way for when I do the fuel cell, and maybe there may or may not be a hole needing to be cut right there. And if you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But I'm definitely gonna have to relocate the battery, probably up maybe in the passenger rear floor well, or in the front of the car on a weight bar or something. I haven't decided yet. If I go with the weight bar, I'm probably gonna have to do a 3-piece, and it's like never-ending snowball. And then before you know it, the car is a sport front-wheel drive car. So yeah, I had to clean up a lot of wiring in here. There was an anti-theft device wired in here. I took all that out and cleaned up a lot of wiring under here. You guys can see that. I'm still in the process of cleaning some of that up. I cleaned up the grounds and some wiring on the fuel pump. Cleaned up some other grounds in here, like this one. was corroded and pretty bad. I talked to a friend of mine that's really good with wiring and whatnot, and he said a grounding issue is probably your issue with this current wiring. As you can see, I'm chasing wiring issues, man, and they're not fun at all. I hate chasing wiring issues. So what I have found though is this is the culprit right here, number 4 coil. What I have found is, yeah, this pin right here is getting 2.87 volts constantly, and while all the other ones, that pin's reading 0 until it's time to read voltage. This one's reading nothing, that one's reading 12 volts. What I have found is if I ground the number 4 coil in here, this is my test ground. If I ground this to the number 4 coil in here, which I don't remember which pin it is, it kills the voltage for that. And it works normally. So there's definitely a grounding issue somewhere. I just haven't figured out where. Maybe in here, or there's some more wiring back in here. This harness, I think, is probably the culprit of why I was hearing every time I moved this harness or whatever, and the fuel pump would cut on and off. I even replaced this. That's not the new one, but I replaced it and then found out that wasn't a problem, and then went ahead and returned that one because that thing's like 60 bucks. But yeah, there's definitely a grounding issue. When I ground the fuel pump, it cuts on, cooling fan, all that. So that's where I'm at right now. I did go ahead and you can't tell they're rusty, but I went ahead and put the Brembo rotors and pads in there, or my girl did actually, and she did a good job with that. So that's where we're at right now. Turn this light on, good God, off. I do have some seats picked out for this thing that I think are gonna look awesome. They're gonna go along with the blue theme or whatever. They'll be a little bit loud, but hey, I think they look dope. Definitely doing a different steering wheel. As far as the rest of the dash and whatnot, I'm gonna keep it looking as factory as possible, you know, aside from the seats and the harnesses that I'm gonna put on it and the steering wheel. Other than that, everything's gonna look factory. That's where we're at right now. There's not really much else I can do right now because I'm waiting on parts. So the ECU is the main thing I need. When I can get an ECU and I can actually physically connect to it with the laptop and make sure all my inputs and outputs and whatnot are connected and functioning properly, then I can actually start to troubleshoot. May or might not go ahead and get a different wiring harness. This is a Chase-based harness which have been discontinued, and that company was sold to somebody else. I actually emailed them to try to get a schematic on it, and to try to figure out what's going on. I may just go ahead and get a new harness instead of chasing issues. Go ahead and get a new harness, get just a fuse block panel from Rye Wire, and go ahead and just redo it. And then go ahead and run a switch panel up here and just cut out all the nonsense. Make it real simple and clean. But you're talking about $3 grand for all that with an Infinity 5, which isn't too bad. So I may go ahead and do that. But yeah, I have to wait for the money to do so. The Charger, aka the party boat, nothing really new here. I haven't filled the nitrous yet in a while. It's cold, it's winter time. I haven't fixed that yet either, but I will. I'm sticking with the plan, like I said, to let my girl race this. I mean, it's done. I'm gonna go back to Mickey's. I don't like these Nittos are fine, but man, they take a while to heat up. And even when they are heated up, they're not as sticky as Mickey's. But I'm definitely going with the intake manifold as soon as I can figure out what I'm gonna do as far as cold air intake. Once I change, the Holley intake that I want comes straight out the front. So mounting, I guess I'll just have to make one or piece one together that works, that will come out in a 90. But that's definitely the intake manifold and the factory throttle body are holding back a lot of power and potential on this motor. So that'll free up some more ponies in this thing. But said, this is gonna be a great car for my girl to, you know, learn how to race and launch and whatnot. She swears up and down she can handle the Honda, but we both know she can't. Not yet anyway, maybe one day. This is definitely without a doubt the scariest car the scariest anything with the engine I've ever driven. Motorcycle, car, doesn't matter. This is definitely the scariest thing I've ever owned or driven, so she's not ready for that yet. Not too good with the manual yet either, but maybe we'll get her in it and get her learning. I just wanted to give you guys an update and continue with this one video at least a week streak that I'm going to be doing for a while. Try to build this page in the audience, man, and see where it goes. So I'm working on right now trying to get a sponsor or a company to collaborate with to help with parts, because man, this stuff is expensive. I don't know how much money I have in this thing already, but it's an astronomical amount for a 97 Civic EK. But that's the nature of racing and modifying cars. You're never gonna get out of them what you put in, but at least with a muscle car or something, they're still worth money. I mean, even as a resto mod or something like that, this right here it's only worth money to somebody who is a fanatic. So I guess it's just like that with anything else. But yeah, we're pretty much at a standstill. I did verify that it runs, even though it ran on 3 cylinders. It ran, there was no leaks, there was no knocks or taps. Everything sounded good. I cannot believe it actually ran on that old Q16. That stuff is only supposed to last for like, I don't know, 3 months, but I guess since it's in the tank and it's sealed, I don't know. It worked somehow, but we're definitely not gonna leave it on that stuff. It's definitely gonna be on E85, E98, something like that. So yeah, hold on. As I say that, I just noticed something right here leaking. Oil, coolant, not sure. Definitely gonna have to address that. See what's going on with that. There was a coolant leak I noticed in here. This one of those lines that I have run into the wastegate is leaking right there at the Union. I'm gonna have to get that. Definitely gonna have to take care of that. The plan may change now that I'm here in the shop, you know, and I have room and time to work on. I have all winter basically to do whatever I want to do to it. So I may go ahead and just get with KLM and get a complete new turbo kit. Bigger intercooler, piping. Manifold's fine. There's nothing wrong with that manifold. I could do a front-facing manifold, but this is not a sport front-wheel drive car. It's gonna be a street car. So I wanna keep it as streetable as possible and as simple and as reliable as possible. So for now, that's the status of the cars. Like I said, I am gonna do a little tour of, you know, the house and the property and whatnot. There may or may not be something coming for the Ram. Definitely needs some work done to that. That truck's it's about to hit 107,000 miles and she needs some TLC. So we are gonna be doing some work to the Ram. More than likely a leveling kit or just shocks that level it out. I don't do any towing with that, so I'm not worried about the rake that it has from the factory in case you're gonna tow. So yeah, that's gonna do it for now. There's definitely gonna be more updates and more coming soon. Like I said, I'm just waiting on parts. And yeah, we'll get back to the live action. It's still gonna be a video a week, like I said, rain or shine. I do have, I got those chickens for free. And with that, got the chicken coop and this huge, I mean, this thing's massive, wood burning stove. It also has fans or blowers, whatever you want to call them in there. So I'm definitely gonna hook that up in here, route the chimney and whatnot. I haven't figured out where it's gonna go yet. Definitely gonna change the wheels on the party boat. Those are actually GT500 replicas that I bought just to get the drag radials off of them. But now, since I have them and nobody wants them, I'm gonna go ahead and put them on the Charger. They don't fit as is. I'm gonna have to run spacers and then just buy the 2 fronts. But hey, might as well be a little different. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this vid. I just wanted to update you guys, and we'll continue to keep you updated and keep doing things, because there's a train going by ruining my outro.